Hello, namaste, and welcome to Agile Exploration Hub. I am your host Nagesh Deshpande. Today, we are going to discuss about prioritization, estimations, and roadmaps. So, as you know, most of the Scrum Masters in today's world are struggling or finding it difficult to work along with these three things, which is estimation, prioritization, and roadmaps. So, they know in this theory. Most of them, you know all these things in theory. But in real Indian IT projects, or we say all the IT projects that we are currently handling, things are working very differently. To discuss on this, we have a program manager who has more than 17 years of experience with global clients. He explained how these concepts are actually being used in our IT world. You will learn what happens on the ground and how to handle it confidently. So watch this episode till the end and like the video, subscribe to my channel, and put all your doubts and questions in the comment box. So without wasting much time, let's welcome Shubho. Hey, hi Shubho.
Hi Nagesh, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
So
Glad to be back.
yeah, yes. So we have done a few episodes, one episode with Shubho in past. I'll put his previous episode in the description box or in the information box. Do watch his previous episode. It's on certifications. Why, so you will like it. So Shubho, let's continue this discussion.
Yeah.
There are frequently I get comments or
Mm-hmm.
questions around prioritization or estimations typically.
All
How should
right.
I estimate and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
let's discuss and understand the challenges or how things goes.
Okay.
So the first thing I want to hear from you is why do prioritization method fails in real IT projects?
Wow, we are starting with an interesting question.
Yes, yes.
Nice. All right. So let's talk about the common prioritization frameworks, be it a Moscow framework, WSGIF framework, RICE frameworks. These frameworks look very beautiful in textbooks or when we read them.
Right,
But if I think about it, the challenge lies because it assumes rational actors and very stable working environments. But in real life, you have got conflicting priorities, or we can say we are dealt with multiple truth at once. For example, if you are talking about the business, revenue is
right,
their priority. But if you talk to risk and compliance team, regulatory deadlines are non-negotiable. And then suddenly your CTO comes and he has an infrastructure modernization agenda. So now everything is priority one. And then how do
exactly.
you fit? Yeah, and how do you fit in those conflicting priorities into your framework? So
Right.
it's that, I mean, if I can put it in very simple words, the frameworks don't fail. It's that while we prioritizing or while estimating, we don't bake in all these complexities into the framework.
Right. So
And
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I wanted to ask you a question. I mean, assume you have to explain these frameworks, let's say Moscow framework, to somebody. How long will it take for you to teach Moscow or rice or visjip to somebody?
Yeah, see, if you ask me about Moscow, Moscow,
Hmm.
explaining someone is very easy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I can
Hmm.
give you a bunch of examples in terms
Yeah.
of so I like to give the realistic example. So
Yes.
let's take an example. We are having dinner at home and we have to cook. So what is the
Hmm.
must have that everyone will like? What is should have and
Correct.
what is a could have and what won't have? So someone is
Correct.
allergic, so we won't have that. If someone
Exactly.
is like vegetarian, so we won't have a
Hmm.
non-vegetarian food, something like that. I can explain
Right.
in that way. People understand it very nicely.
Hmm.
But the problem again, implementing it very challenging.
Exactly. So if I give you 3 yards and an audience who has never heard prioritization in their life, in 3 yards they would have a very good understanding of all these
Absolutely.
frameworks, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
But can you put them into a project and ask them to manage the next day? Or you cannot.
No, it's very difficult.
Exactly.
I wanted to come to that example. So this
Yeah.
happens with me, and
Hmm.
this was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
and I was working on a very, very highly interdependent project. Very complex
Mm-hmm.
it was. It was
Yeah.
not complex, it was messy, to be honest. I
Mm-hmm.
will not mince my word here. Okay.
Right.
So what
Right.
happened that one of the scrum master, he came to me and he said that,
Mm-hmm.
Nagesh, these are the things that my team wants on priority. I said, what
Mm-hmm.
is the priority?
Yeah.
Okay. So he said, this is the priority, this is the priority. I said, okay, you're giving me four items and you're saying all of them are for priority. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I need what is must have, what is should have, what is all that. Okay. What is
Yeah.
P1 or P2? He said, all is
Exactly.
P1. I said, no, no. There is nothing
Not
in this
possible.
world like everything is P1. you know
Exactly.
you have to you have to come to me and say that, Nagesh, this is something which is going to break my system, this is something going to
Yeah.
delay my deliveries, and I want this one at top. you know
Mm-hmm.
this can be go into next sprint or sprint after one, something like that.
Right.
You have to talk in that language. If you put everything P1, it is not going to happen. So
Exactly.
this is actual situation, guys. I'm not making
Yeah.
it. I've faced it.
Mm-hmm.
I've dealt it in the same language that I used with that Scrum Master.
Yeah.
Okay. And if that Scrum Master watching this video, he will put it in a comment. Okay.
Yeah. And this is exactly the kind of nuance that we expect, right? Even when we hire or when we
Yes.
interview people, I mean, we don't want to know how beautifully you know Wisdom for Rice framework. Even if you don't know, it's fine. We'll give you
Fine.
a 3 hour session, or we'll give you a Udemy video. You watch it, you will learn. But can you handle these difficult conversations?
Exactly.
Yeah, that is the kind of nuance that, I mean, even these scrum masters who are new or who are watching this, I would urge them to work on these kind of nuances, work on these kind of conversations, the strategic tactical conversations.
That's absolutely true. So you need
Yeah,
to you need not to master something in terms of framework. Only thing is
exactly.
how you handle that situation
Right.
while working along with these frameworks. So
Yeah.
that's the key thing here. Now moving on, what really drives the priority change? You gave one example, but
Mm-hmm.
if there is an enterprise program, big program,
Right.
and what made suddenly some priority gets changed? What is that?
The usual suspects are usually your market conditions have changed, the business priorities have changed, and these are, I mean, these are the things which you often get heard.
Hmm.
But then, I mean, if you ask me what is exactly driving that change, I mean, there are cases when what exactly is driving is FOMO or fear of missing out.
Absolutely.
Somebody in the leadership has seen a competitor doing something out of the box, and
Hmm.
then fear kicks in that okay, our company should also do that. But then you can't document FOMO in your change log. That's why it's always the market conditions, it's the shifting business priorities. But then again, more often than not, you see something which is happening in the market or a competitor is doing it and you want to incorporate that. So that is,
Right.
but
Right.
again, on a
Some.
serious note, I mean,
Hmm.
there can be other. I mean, I mean, it was on a lighter note that it's not always FOMO. There are regulations which changes, and like you and I work with very closely with the banking and the finance industry. So
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
I mean, if a regulation changes, the entire ecosystem around it changes. So
Right.
everything needs
Absolutely.
to change. All the priorities go out because you need to cater to that regulation because it comes with a deadline. And if you
Right.
miss that deadline, there are heavy fines. I mean, I'm sure you would have faced such
Yeah,
scenarios.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So not in the banking, but I was working in somewhere where the trading used to
Oh
happen.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tradings of consumer goods, I'm saying. Okay.
Okay.
So that era, there were only the sales tax and all those things were there.
Right.
Okay, VAT was not introduced.
Hmm.
Okay, and suddenly on one given day, government of India introduced VAT. Okay,
Right.
so all the release with the application was ready to ship. Everything was ready, and
Yeah.
suddenly, like it was ready to ship next day, and
Right.
by evening or some few hours earlier, we got a call. They say, "Oh, we have to stop everything." Okay, a customer won't accept it without VAT implementation. And there was
Yeah.
so ambiguity around what is VAT and what are the percentage and how it is going to implement. So suddenly the priority got changed. All the earlier must-have features was
Hmm.
declined or rejected by the customer and
Right.
say
Of
that no,
course.
we want VAT first. We want VAT
Exactly.
first.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was so shocking for us because there were so many telephone calls earlier. And this is
Hmm.
I'm talking like when
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was the VAT. It was way back
Right.
2004 5. Okay.
4, 5.
There
Yes.
was so many telephone calls at that
Hmm.
time. We were frustrated. We were like, this is we were not working in IT. We were working in tele services or processing.
Yeah.
We are just processing the call. Someone asking
Right.
for, we want this kind of implementation, we want that kind of, someone wanting
Yeah.
reports. You forget about functionality implementation, you want report directly. How
Exactly.
can I give you the
Exactly.
reports?
Yeah.
So it was very challenging experience at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similarly, when GDPR came in
Yes, yes, yes.
2014 or 15 in Europe,
Yes, yes.
you remember? I
GDPR
mean,
also it was
we
same.
we
Yes,
had
yes.
sleepless nights just reprioritizing. Customer data, reference data suddenly became so important.
Absolutely. GDPR was also
Discoverability became so
similar.
important. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
overnight your requirements change. Your deliverables changed
Exactly.
overnight.
Exactly. And then the second most debatable or discuss point here is estimations.
Yeah.
So we got over to the prioritization. We know the
Hmm.
challenges around it and what is the reality of
Right.
prioritization. But what
Hmm.
about estimation? Why do estimation rarely match with the actual delivery timelines?
Because those are estimates, those are not forecasts,
Yes,
right? I
yes,
mean,
yes, yes.
and it is practically impossible to account for all the possible uncertainties in the complex world that we operate in. It's
Right,
practically impossible to factor in all the variables.
right.
And again, I mean, I want this thought to change. Nagesh, tell me how many times have you heard this? But Nagesh, you committed that it would happen in Q1. Why did it not happen in Q1? How many times
Absolutely,
have you
many
heard
times.
this?
Every release, forget
Yeah,
about.
yeah, exactly.
And again, the word we use, estimate, is also called as guesstimate. So because we
Guesstimate,
just
yeah,
put,
exactly. It's anybody's guess. And
it's anybody's guess. Yes.
and
Mm.
even, I mean, you would remember while we were, I mean, there was a time when we used to be heavily involved in writing RFPs. And while
Yes.
writing RFPs, we always, I mean, we are guilty of estimating, I mean, considering the happy path.
Yes.
Or we predict, I mean, we predict things like, okay, the team might take 10% of the resources will take leave. I mean, and then you make an estimate. And what happens if 15% of your team takes a leave in Diwali? Then what? Your entire estimates go for a toss, right?
Yes. Yes. And RFP is like funny incident I'll share with
Okay.
RFP.
Yeah.
So it happened few years back, and then we were building service
Okay.
where we have to incorporate a service from
Hmm.
Microsoft.
Okay.
Okay. And the entire team was assuming that it will be done by like 3 to 6 months and all that, and
Hmm.
everything was done. So POC was done and everything is done
Right.
and all that, and then project got kicked off and all that.
Hmm.
And we later came to know that Microsoft is planning to release their feature after 8 months.
Okay. Awesome. Dependency.
So now the project that we planned for 8 months, 6 months, and the
Hmm.
Microsoft was going to release their feature, which we want to incorporate in our project,
Right.
had no timeline match.
Yeah.
And then we have to, go back and forth, and then the contract got cancelled, the team got reshuffled, and then we got some other assignment from the client, and this kind of a
Right.
chaos happened. So the entire estimation went on toss.
Yeah. And I'll tell you about my current engagement. I have a team which is a one-stop shop.
Okay.
We are the development team, we are the DevOps team, we are the production support team. So while estimating in any of these sprints, we consider 20% of our bandwidth for production support. Now,
Hmm.
what happens when a critical incident comes and it takes more than 20% of our time? Will we stop saying, okay, we have only estimated 20%, now 20% is done, we'll move back to our development? We can't do that, right? Even if it takes 40% of somebody's effort, he will have to fix the production incident first. And then
Right.
your entire development goes for a toss. And this is
Hmm.
the real world that we live in. And another
Absolutely.
challenge, since we are talking about the Indian context, culturally, I mean, we are not very comfortable in saying no, right?
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
so we absorb things, right? We try to absorb things because saying no feels difficult. Padding
Yes.
estimates, keeping buffers. I mean, we are culturally, we are not very comfortable in padding our estimates, right?
Right.
Because we feel, I mean, we are being dishonest. But in real life, I mean, we have to build in estimates. Otherwise, it's a professional suicide, right? So,
Right. Right. Right.
so these are the cultural things which we have to be very careful about.
Right. See, again, to be honest, like if there is ambiguity now, do not
Hmm.
estimate. This is
Yeah,
my honest view. But again,
absolutely.
there is a business around it, and then the client expectations are there,
Uh-huh.
and we do not want to make any client unhappy. I can
Correct.
understand all that, but
Hmm.
when there is a too much of gray area, just avoid it to estimate
Right,
something. Okay.
right.
So again, coming back to estimations, if
Hmm.
the requirements are frequently changing, how should someone estimate? What are the good practices or what should
Hmm.
we avoid?
Okay. So this is going to be, I mean, very controversial. My approach is going to be very controversial.
Yeah,
First of all,
fine.
first of all, we need to make sure that we pass on the message very clearly that estimates are approximations and you
Right.
cannot measure estimates with a vernier calipers. You cannot put me on spot for my estimates. It's not a
Right.
blood oath.
Hmm.
It's, I mean, you cannot. And again, I mean, like we discussed, we get asked, but you estimated, but you said you will deliver. Yes, I did. But then after that, 10 things changed. The
Right.
priorities changed, right? And and more often than not, the people asking us are on CC of those emails, right? So they know. They know that the priorities have changed, but still we get asked about these questions. All right. So coming back to practical tips, okay, what can we do? I mean, the good old what PMP has taught us, rolling wave planning. Like you said, if there is an ambiguity, don't plan for it. Don't plan for 6 months
Absolutely.
down the line. Plan for the next two sprints. And be very clear that beyond these two sprints, it is anybody's guess. It's just an educated guess. I mean, if I say that I'll deliver something in 8 months, it's an educated guess. I can tell you with certainty that these two features would be delivered in a month and a half. That is my commitment to you. Beyond that is anybody's guess. Things can go wrong. And that is what we will try to achieve, but we'll revisit that again. Maybe after a month we'll revisit that, and then you have to keep planning again and again. And then now that, I mean, in the world of agile, we have shifted the estimation to the developers, right? Every developer is estimating it. That's a very good thing. But as scrum masters, we may need to make sure that the backlog refinement should be at the heart of it, right? So that
Correct.
is the job of a scrum master. And as a product owner, if you and I are a product owner, it's our responsibility that the requirements are written, the user stories or the epics are written properly, and the requirements
Absolutely.
are getting refined. So we
Right.
cannot just ask developers to estimate better. It's the
Right.
job of a scrum master to build that culture. It's the job of the product owner to write better requirements. And then the entire ecosystem comes together. It's not one person or one team who can change the estimation or be more accurate, right?
Yeah. So as a Scrum Master, or you should work with product owner and build a roadmap.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
see how long this is taking, or where are the milestones, or where are the pit stops are there. Just
Correct.
get on to that. And if you feel it really unrealistic, have that hard communication, have that difficult communication conversation with your team. You know, so
Right.
this doesn't look practical. This looks very difficult. Get into that. Otherwise you will just become a scrum master who takes the order and follow the order. So it
Yeah.
shouldn't be like that. So Shubho, next thing, that again, talking on those entire discussion,
Hmm.
majority of our audience who are you are looking for jobs for scrum master or agile coach or product owner,
Right.
you know
Hmm.
and they are preparing for interviews also.
Okay.
Now, how I should explain it in the interview about, these topics like estimations, or prioritization in the interview? How can I
Hmm.
confidently answer all these things?
See, the confidence doesn't come from knowing the or memorizing the Agile Manifesto or knowing the 12 principles, Agile principles
Hmm.
by heart, right? It comes from demonstrating what you have done and how you have contributed to business outcomes. And what was your leadership style when there was a crisis, when 10 things were going wrong? What was your leadership style? Even when I interview Scrum Masters, I have seen people explaining their BAU work or
Right,
explaining how beautifully they have carried out their ceremonies. I'm not interested in that, very honestly. I want to know if I can trust you in crisis.
right,
I don't want to know if you know the Moscow framework. I don't want to know if you know the WSGIF framework or you know the role of an RT or you know the role of a Scrum Master. I know that you know. That's why you're sitting with me across the table. But I want you to tell me when there was a crisis or when there were conflicting requirements, how you use Moscow framework to come to a conclusion and how you prioritize those requirements. I want to know that. I want to know how you kept calm and how you dealt with the stakeholders when there were conflicting requirements which were coming in. When business
right,
was saying one thing and your CTO was saying the other thing, how did you brought how what did you do? How did you communicate with them? Were you able to bring both of the parties in the same table, discuss it with them, and get the priority right? Were you able to do that? So I want to know how. I mean, I want a battle hardened person. So I want to know how. I don't want to know their BAU. I want to know how they achieved their business outcomes.
right. Absolutely. Even I will be interested to know how you have, gained the business outcome. what
Right.
exactly your team or your so another angle I'll give it to it. So
Hmm.
normally in our um, industry, IT industry specifically, again we'll giving saying that about Indian IT.
Right.
Even if you are a Scrum Master, we do work under either a project manager or program manager. You know
Yeah.
how you are making sure that your program manager or project manager's goal are aligned to what you are achieving or outcome based day to day.
Exactly.
Okay, if you are making sure that your project manager or program manager's goals are getting reached through your day-to-day activity, that's where you become a successful Scrum Master. Not
Exactly.
just doing, if you're doing just doing the ceremonies and following the Agile Manifesto, know the definitions of all these things, it's not going to suffice or not going to satisfy anything. Not in the interview, neither your day-to-day job nor your program manager.
Absolutely.
So face it, understand what exactly the business outcome requires from you as a Scrum Master or product owner or an Agile coach. Okay.
Yeah.
It was great discussion so far. Now,
Hmm.
last question of the day. What
Okay.
practical mindset helps constant pressure and rework?
Okay. All right. So, I mean, let's talk about rework first. I mean, and
Rework first,
I,
yes.
I, I don't want to blow my trumpet here, my own trumpet here, but I mean, what has worked for me over the years is that I don't take rework as a surprise. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't get surprised when requirements change or stakeholders come up with new requirements during UAT. I don't get surprised. Rather, I get surprised when they don't come up with that. So you need to understand that rework is going to be a part of your, I mean, that's the world that you are living in. There is going to be new requirements which are coming in. There will be rework. So that's perfect. I mean, you need to, you cannot plan for that, but you need to incorporate that. You need to absorb that. And then you need to know when you have to absorb that, you need to know when you have to decline that, or you should know when you need to negotiate that. So that's a
Right,
skill which comes with practice. And second, you need to be a very effective communicator. You will have stakeholders who are coming in with conflicting expectations, like we discussed some time back.
right,
So the solution is not to accept everything from all the stakeholders and burn yourself and your team out. That's not the solution. The solution is to bring everyone on the same page and come to a solution. And there is no harm. Like you said, your goal should be aligned with your program manager's goal, right? No
right.
harm in involving a program manager. It's perfectly fine. You have to act as a bridge. If you cannot take that decision, it's okay. Escalate it to your program manager. Bring them.
Absolutely,
Let them
absolutely.
take the decision. Let them facilitate the decision. You bring everybody in the same table. You give the entire context, because at the end of the day, it's your team, your capacity. So you need to put forward your stance. You cannot keep absorbing everything. So that's second. And finally, you need to be radically transparent. I mean, things go wrong. Okay, let's face it. All of us have messed up. Our teams have messed up. So it's not, I mean, if you try to be smart about it, if you want to beat around the bush, you want to hide it from your stakeholders or your clients, that's not going to work. It's a human
Absolutely.
who's sitting at the end of the table, right? At the other side of the table. It's okay. Be very transparent. Tell them that, okay, we have messed up and these are the three things that we will do to fix it. And it would take us, okay, it would take us a month and a half extra or a week and a half extra, but we will fix it. These are the steps we are doing it. Be very transparent.
Right.
And you cannot, I mean, they would understand that, right? I mean, they will understand that, okay, there is a situation where three of your team members were not available, and it's okay, the milestone slipped. But if you try to be smart around it, if you try to beat around the bush, if you try to hide things, that's not going to work.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Again, so having clear, transparent communication,
Yeah.
set the expectations right. Be sure in your communication will help you to reduce the stress, reduce the pressure, you know, and you will be, effective enough. That's what I
Yeah.
can say as of now. Okay.
And build relationship
Yeah,
with your clients.
absolutely.
Yeah. There
Yes,
have
yes,
been
yes.
cases where, I mean, there have been delays, but because I had a good relationship with the client, they did not escalate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Great. Good. Shubha, it was wonderful discussion. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
today's discussion and want you to come back again on Agile
Sure.
Exploration Hub and share your views.
Yeah.
So, from the entire audience of Agile Exploration Hub, we want to say thank you for being such a wonderful speaker today. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Nagesh. It was an interesting conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and bye bye. And
Bye bye.
If you have watched this episode till the end, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and add your doubts in the comment box. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye bye.